On this week's episode of Amari Purple Talk, it's the Rainbow Children One Night Alone Reissue Special. Amari Purple Talk starts now. Welcome to episode 27 of Amari Purple Talk, a Prince podcast where I share my thoughts on the Prince musical singularity. I'm Richard Cole, your imagination funk soloist, and I want to start by thanking everyone that has tuned in. I hope you're enjoying the show. Please leave your comments on the show where comments are displayed. And also please continue to download and listen from your favorite podcast platform. And YouTube listeners, please continue to like and subscribe. Feel free to also visit my website, www.amaricommunications.com. You may also click the links in the show notes to follow me on social media and submit topics or questions for use in future episodes and purchase Amari Purple Talk merchandise. And with that out of the way, let's begin. And actually, before we begin, we're going to start with a topic addressing the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe rumors. Okay, so a little bit closer to the weekend, there's been some rumblings. I'm not sure of the source. It may be a reliable source, but as with any rumor, first and foremost, always check out the official sources. And if there's no buzz there, just kind of take it with a grain of salt. So again, earlier, or as the weekend was approaching, there were rumors that Warner Brothers is going to forego the release of a Parade Super Deluxe Edition and instead do a Sign of the Times Super Deluxe Edition. Now, if you remember several episodes ago, for quite a few episodes, and I've also put polls on social media at the time, begging the question, should Warner Brothers, since they only will have the Warner Brothers classic material or the master tapes until 2021, in which everything reverts to a license agreement with Sony at that point. Should they, while they still have the classic albums in their possession, should they swing for the fences and do a Sign of the Times Super Deluxe Edition, or play it safe and do a Parade Super Deluxe Edition? So, according to this source, that a Parade Super Deluxe does actually exist, but they're not going to release it. Instead, Warner Brothers is going to release, of course, with the blessings of the Prince estate, going to release a Sign of the Times Super Deluxe Edition that may tentatively come out in June of this year. And that the Parade Super Deluxe will be postponed and released the next year. So again, there's no official word from Warner Brothers, no official word from the Prince estate, but saying this, some of the sources, some that I follow on social media, some that are reliable sources from other Prince podcasts, so far, certain things that have been rumored, just like the Rainbow Children and One Night Alone releases that we'll discuss in depth a little bit later. So far, when those rumors start to rumble, they do turn out to be true, most of them. So again, take this with a grain of salt. Again, I'll wait till there is an official announcement. But again, like I said, I've discussed this question several episodes ago myself. So feel free to go back into the archives. If you haven't heard it already, check it out. If you want to have a refresher, go ahead and check those episodes out as well. But for me, my initial reaction I think it's a good idea. I think I even said so previously. I know with the poll that with that one, Sign of the Times did edge out Parade as a favorite amongst listeners of the Amari Purple Talk community, as well as the Prince community itself, favoring the release of the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe. So let me see if I can access those results again here. So just give me a moment here, if I still have it. Okay, so these are the results from December 8th of 2019, and the question was, do you think Warner Brothers will release a Sign of the Times Deluxe Edition before the license to Prince's classic album Masters, which covers roughly from 1978 to 1988, transfer to Sony, or do you think Warner Brothers will release Parade? And the results of that poll, and that was from December 8th, was the final results tally. So based on that, 64% of Amari Purple Talk listeners, as well as others in the Prince community, feel that Warner Brothers should release Sign of the Times as a final moneymaker. 36% decided that Parade should be the next release from Warner Brothers. So again, there's a huge demand for a Sign of the Times Deluxe, Super Deluxe Edition. I would be excited for it. I would not be upset if they would release it in June of this year. Otherwise, I would be willing to wait until it ends up in Sony's hands and get a really good, comprehensive, better than Super Deluxe Edition. I'm talking ultimate box set a la Miles Davis, a la Bob Dylan box set type treatment. So, but again, if Warner Brothers decides they're swinging for the fences with this one, hey, I'm all for it. Also, too, the official list for this year's Record Store Day releases, it does have Sign of the Times, the vinyl LP listed. Now, the question of myself, as well as others out there in the Prince community as well, is what is the point of releasing this on vinyl? Because there was already a sort of definitive 2015 reissue of Sign of the Times on vinyl. And that was part of the licensing agreement that Prince had with Warner Brothers once he retained ownership of his master recordings from Warner Brothers. So this is something, I'm assuming it's still in print and is still pretty much available. You can go to any record store, Target, Best Buy, Barnes & Noble. You can order it from Amazon. So I don't see this particular version on vinyl, and it's 180 gram vinyl. I don't see it as something that's out of print or unavailable. So I'm curious as to what's special about this particular release. Is it going to be on purple vinyl? Is it going to be on peach and black vinyl? Or just peach vinyl? So with that said, again, let's take all these rumors with a grain of salt until we get an official or more information on at least the Record Store Day vinyl LP release of Sign of the Times, and until we get an official word from the estate or Warner Brothers regarding Sign of the Times, the Super Deluxe Edition, or any Super Deluxe Edition of any Warner Brothers classic album for 2020. we'll just sit back and wait. But what's most important is, what do you guys think? Are you excited for a Sign of the Times Super Deluxe Edition released by Warner Brothers this year? Do you prefer to wait until it's in the hands of Sony? And what about this Record Store Day release? Do you think it's just the same 2015 180 gram vinyl that's going to be available? Or do you think it's going to be something special with the packaging as far as different color vinyl? Leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts. And that's going to end that topic. And now we're going to officially go into our Rainbow Children One Night Alone reissue special. So the word is official, folks. We got the word on Friday that not only will the Rainbow Children be part of the next set of re-releases, or reissues, I should say, reissues by Sony, but we are also getting One Night Alone. And we're also getting the Live at the Aladdin DVD. And we're also getting the One Night Alone, the studio album that was done by Prince just within 6 months of recording the Rainbow Children. And it's all coming out, folks. In fact, you can get a set that has all of the One Night Alone material, plus the studio album, plus the DVD. And I'm excited. And as a lot of us have read the official release from the Prince estate, as well as I also read the official Sony Legacy press release on this album, or these releases as well. So we're going to kind of dive in, kind of discuss them in brief, kind of similar to what I did with the 1999 Super Deluxe Edition. Which version should you buy? So, there's a lot of choices. You can buy vinyl, you can buy CD. With the One Night Alone material, you can get the super box set. All right, so what are we getting? All right, so on Friday, April 17th, we're getting the Rainbow Children, which will be available on CD for the first time in decades. And according to the official estate release, this will be available as a crystal clear double LP with a limited edition custom rainbow slip mat. Oh, that's cool. That'll be cool. So right now, for my vinyl cover or slip mat, I've got a Led Zeppelin How the West Was Won, which I got free from Vintage Vinyl. I purchased maybe 3 or 4 vinyl albums that day, and they just threw in the slip mat. So I've been using that to cover my turntable with that. So it'd be nice to kind of have something a little different to put on there. And kind of goes with the decor of where I record this podcast as well. So that'll be fitting. So that'd be cool to have that. Also, too, we are getting the One Night Alone, and this is the solo piano and voice by Prince. This will be available on purple vinyl. The CD will be available with the Up All Night box set, which we'll discuss later. There is also the One Night Alone Live, which is also on purple vinyl. It'll be about 3 LPs long. So that's the One Night Alone Live on purple vinyl. And this is the only official live recording that Prince had done in his lifetime that's been available. So this was a pretty big deal back in 2002. For years, fans have been clamoring for Prince to put together sort of a live concert. It didn't really matter which era it was in. Of course, we all have our opinions and our favorites, but we just wanted something live, whether it was current or whether it was something from the past. So he granted our wishes with this One Night Alone live set, which the original CD set were just the CDs of the One Night Alone live, plus the bonus One Night Alone after show titled It Ain't Over. But here for the vinyl releases, the after show It Ain't Over is going to be a separate vinyl release, and that's going to be 2 LPs long. And in addition to that, then we have the Up All Night with Prince, and this is the One Night Alone collection. So this collection will have the 3 One Night Alone live CDs, or actually, I'm sorry, it'll have the 2 One Night Alone live CDs, the One Night Alone studio album, the It Ain't Over after show, and it will also include the Live at Aladdin DVD. And this will all of these will be available on April 17th. You can pre-order either from the Prince estate itself, or if you use Amazon, you can pre-order it from there. For me, like I said, my sort of habit is to go for the CDs, and that's just for economic reasons, and then just kind of revisit or go get the vinyl at a later date. So for me, I'm definitely interested in getting the Rainbow Children, having that back on CD, and also the Up All Night with Prince collection. So I'm interested in getting those 2 particular items. So this was a very interesting period because starting with the Rainbow Children, it was the first album released by Prince when he started using the name Prince again. So all the newbies out there, he got into a contract dispute with Warner Brothers in the early 90s. And instead of taking them to court and having a big, long, drawn-out lawsuit, he kind of finessed his way into gaining his artistic freedom and winning the battle to get the rights to his publishing, and eventually getting the ownership of his master recordings from his Warner Brothers period. Because once he left Warner Brothers, every album that he recorded, say from 1996 on or 1995 on, he retained ownership of those masters. But it was the master recordings with Warner Brothers. Like I said, it was a long battle as far as the master recordings, and it wasn't until 2014 in which he was able to get control of those tapes back. And during that battle in the 90s, so from 93 until the year 2000, he did not go by Prince. He went by an unpronounceable symbol, which is the symbol that you see on, all Prince related material, albums, the Prince Estate logo. That was the symbol that he was going by. And it was a way to finesse his way during his last few albums with Warner Brothers, as well as what he was using to gain his creative freedom or publishing, and again, eventually his master recording. So that being said, once he got ownership of the publishing, because I guess at that time he felt that getting the master tapes at that particular time was sort of an uphill battle, or a battle he probably didn't think that he would win. Not to say that he didn't stop trying, but at least with the publishing contract, it was enough leverage for him to begin to use the name Prince again. So once he got ownership of his publishing in 1999, once that contract ran out with Warner Brothers, then he was confident enough to go back to using the name Prince. So the Rainbow Children was the first album that he released as Prince once again. And I've always said on previous episodes, whenever the topic of the Rainbow Children would come up, is that I felt this is what Prince should sound like, at least for one album anyway, at the age that he was at the time, given, how much history within the music business since he started, that this is a mature sound. For those of us that were around in the 80s and sort of kind of grew up with him through thick and thin, not every album was a winner with everybody, but we always hung in there. It was always enough to keep us going for the next release, the next album, and you at least get it just to hear what it sounds like, and then you kind of make your judgment. Now, there's people that love everything, and then there's people that sort of cherry pick, and that's okay. That's okay. There's albums where it's like, okay, well, I've heard it, I'll just wait for the next one now. But this one, I thought, like I said, it was a bold artistic statement. It was mature musically. I know a lot of the criticism, and I too had that sort of criticism as well. To me, it was a little heavy-handed with the Jehovah's Witness doctrines a bit. But again, it was a strong enough album, and, he's capable and smart enough as an artist to still, once again, pull it out of the fire and come up with something that was very strong. And sometimes, too, art makes you think. Sometimes art, does what it does. It holds up a mirror to whether it's society or the ills of the world or the pleasures of the world, and it holds up that mirror and it opens the floor for discussion in a way that, sometimes it takes a piece of art for two human beings to sit down and think and then kind of discuss how to meet in the middle. And this album certainly did divide the room. Actually, I would have loved to have seen along with it, and maybe this is something that they'll think about, or Sony will think about in the future, if there's ever a Rainbow Children Deluxe set or a box set someday. If you go to or look up Kevin Smith and Prince, Kevin Smith, the famous director, Jay and Silent Bob and Chasing Amy, Mallrats, those movies, Dogma. Prince asked him to do a documentary, and right around the time of the Rainbow Children, and this was taking place at one of the Prince celebrations. And I'm sure probably many of you were there and know what happened during that week. But Kevin Smith tells a really engaging tale of that whole experience about that. So I would love to see maybe some of the footage that he shot, maybe along with his reflections now as opposed to when he did this lecture. This was about maybe 10, 15 years ago when he did this lecture and brought up this particular memory. So, like I said, again, maybe in the future, if they do a box set, then maybe they'll have something like that. But literally, this album literally divided the room during those celebrations. And, for those of us that didn't attend, just listening to it, like I said, to me, it was a bit heavy-handed with the sort of dogma things, but I still thought it worked as an album. And I think what really, there were a lot of factors. First and foremost, we were still dealing with the hangover from 9/11, So, before we could have collected ourselves, because it was released, I think, in November of 2001. So, that's still 2 months in. So the wounds of what happened on 9/11, that was still, our minds and our spirits and everything. We were still trying to recover from that. So, and the fact that it wasn't distributed by a major record label at the time, not a lot of people really had time to really engage with this album. Not a lot of people are aware of this album. And two, again, if, maybe if they do a documentary for just the Rainbow Children alone, that's something to kind of factor in, the context of the times, in which this album came out. Like I said, if it had come out on a major label, this could have been another What's Going On moment. It could have been another, say, Songs in the Key of Life moment, or, just one of those, or Imagine. It could have been just one of those songs that just literally spoke to the times we were living in and what we were going through then. Because I think the only real big album that really just that thread through from, between 9/11 was Jay-Z's Blueprint album. That was the only thing that was really, to me, selling out. I probably have to double check, but I think, but this is a record that I really think should see the light of day. For those of you that don't have it, I recommend you get it. It's already available on all the streaming services. So if you have Apple Music or Tidal or Spotify, you can listen to the whole thing in its entirety. Check it out and, see what, and two, there's a lot going on now. Again, some of the songs kind of bring up certain questions, not only on kind of a spiritual level, brings up a lot of things on a political level too. Songs like Family Name, that speaks to a lot of the division that still goes on now, and kind of other people fanning the flames of that division, trying to keep that division going, and again, seeking, it's a song that it's not about really division, but it's about certain people looking within and finding your identity and finding it within your own culture and having that culture, and based on that culture, your spiritual context within it to, kind of help you kind of weather the storm of the crazy stuff that's going on now. So definitely that's an album that I highly recommend. And the One Night Alone live album, it was really an extension because it was kind of still in support of that album. Again, it wasn't a greatest hits tour, which we've all become accustomed to. But there are exceptions like Prince, maybe Bob Dylan, or I think maybe Jimi Hendrix for a while. Got tired of playing Purple Haze and just wanted to do other songs and stuff on tour as well. So, but Prince to me was consistent in constantly challenging you, maybe every other tour, or if he didn't do it with the tours, he did it with the after shows. So where you never really got the same song twice, or you never got the same set list twice. So, but One Night Alone was definitely sort of different. There weren't any pyrotechnics, no big stage lighting, no special effects. It was just him and the band, and it was all about the music. It does have, the Rainbow Children does have that jazzy quality, and a lot of the material he was putting out then, Expectation, of course, One Night Alone, that's piano. What else? News. That was sort of, for a lot of us, kind of like a, kind of a Madhouse vibe, just instrumental jazz. So the funkier stuff was kind of regulated to the NPG Music Club during that period, and just what he was releasing as albums. Again, it was not only maybe challenging himself as an artist, but it was also challenging our expectations of him. So the One Night Alone live tour is an extension of that, where it's like, okay, I'm challenging you on record. So now when you come see me, I'm really going to challenge your expectations. And it's it's an era, and it's a tour, and it's an album, or albums if you count the One Night Alone piano and voice recording. If you got the live at the Aladdin DVD, I always felt, as much as I enjoyed that DVD, to me, I just felt it was too short. I just felt that it should have carried as much weight as the One Night Alone live. But I can kind of see what was going on with that, where it was the complete sort of, at that time, multimedia experience. So that was just kind of like an extra bonus. But I'm glad they're including it in that box set, because now you can really get all of this in its context. So you can buy the Rainbow Children, buy this Up All Night set, which has all of the live material. Because not only do you get just what you were getting in concert, it also gives you a glimpse of what a Prince after show would be like. I went to one at the Warfield in San Francisco. This was in 1988, and had a great time, because it was just right after the Love Sexy concert, where, that was the hits and that was supporting the new album. But, the after show was sort of, felt like a free for all, because you didn't know what song was coming next. And it wasn't all just the current album or whatever. And it wasn't just the hits either. It's just, you got a smaller venue and you just jamming, And a lot of people that have gone to a lot of the after shows or heard a lot of the after shows as a collector, you kind of get the vibe and what to expect. But for those that are, again, just now getting into the whole Prince musical singularity, this is an idea, and it's an official release of what a Prince after show. So if you hear sort of older diehards or just diehards in the know, and you're wondering what they're talking about, then this gives you a glimpse of what it's about. And it's real music by real musicians. And you should check it out, and hopefully you enjoy it, and hopefully you get moved and inspired by it as well. So I'm excited for this. So like I said, again, for me, it will be the Up All Night collection. That way I can get everything plus the DVD. And in addition to that, just get the Rainbow Children. And as I'm looking at the sort of press kit graphics here, displaying what the vinyls and the CDs would look like. I like this shade of purple, or this texture of purple that they're using for the vinyl on this. I don't know if that, if it's different. It looks different, but if it is, I prefer this better. And I think it works better aesthetically, especially with this set of releases. Although the Rainbow Children will be crystal clear vinyl, which, I don't know, somebody on one of the social media sites pointed out that, it represented his feeling of clarity, spiritual clarity at that time. And I was like, yeah, that sounds nice. I like that idea. And the but the other releases with the purple vinyl, I mean, I like that texture. So I hope that's a texture that they'll continue with, and with future releases, or maybe kind of retroactively go back with what they've already released already, and just sort of the next set of pressings, just utilize that texture as well. That would give me more of an incentive. At first, I was kind of put off by everything being on purple vinyl. Maybe it's just because I'm too old school. But like I said, when I look at this set and when I see the purple vinyl displayed with the different covers, like I said, aesthetically, it works better. So I don't know. We'll see. We will see. But what's most important is, what are you getting? Again, let's just recap. And we'll start with the One Night Alone, the after show. It Ain't Over. That will be available as 2 LPs on purple vinyl. The One Night Alone live, which is, I think I said 3 earlier, my mistake. It's 4 LPs on purple vinyl. Then you have the Up All Night with Prince, and that's the One Night Alone collection, and that is available on CD. So you will get 4 CDs. One is the solo piano and voice studio recording of the One Night Alone album. The 2 One Night Alone live concert CDs. The It Ain't Over after show CD. And the Live at the Aladdin in Las Vegas DVD. And also, that's going to come with a reprinting of the book that came with the original One Night Alone live box set. That is a brilliant set of photographs that are included with that set. Not sure if there'll be any additional liner notes. Kind of hoping so, but we'll see when that's released. Okay, and then we have the One Night Alone solo piano and voice by Prince. And then that is going to be on purple vinyl. And finally, we have the Rainbow Children. And that is going to be on crystal clear vinyl. And that will be 2 LPs. And it also comes with a slip mat that you can put over your turntable and keep the dust off of it, and make all of your vinyl listening an enjoyable experience. Speaking of which, I started a blog. It's called What's in the Crate. It's on WordPress. Right now I just have 1 article up. Kind of got 3 more that's planned, and I'm actually kind of working on the second one now. Haven't covered any Prince material yet, but when I do, I'll post that, because say if I post some of the other stuff, then, some of the administrators on some of the Prince sites kind of get a little pissed off and say, no, naughty boy, you can't do that, So, but when I do get around to certain Prince albums, I will post those links there. But I'm working on one for Shaka Khan's Rufusized album, and for those that have read the Prince book, The Beautiful Ones, you will know what I'm talking about. So be on the lookout for that. That'll be kind of like the 4th piece. So like I said, I'm writing the 2nd piece now. So kind of as I get those posted, when I get around to posting the Shaka Khan one up, definitely let you guys know about that. So other than that, getting back to our Rainbow Children One Night Alone special. What are you going to get? Which one should you get? That's up to you. Again, if you're more attached to CDs, definitely get the CDs. If you're attached to the vinyl, get the vinyl. If you're going to cherry pick, say maybe you just want the vinyl version of Rainbow Children because you already have the CD originally, cool. Which one? Like I said, for me, it's going to be, I always go for the CD and then I'll get the vinyl later on down the line. So, but definitely the Up All Night set and the Rainbow Children CD, definitely replacing some missing gaps in that one. Definitely leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts and let me know which one that you're going to get. So again, I'm anxious and can't wait for April 17th to get here. So this is going to wrap up today's special. So I kind of wanted to spend time covering all of those releases since there were so many in this one. That we'll do our Bite the Boots segment and we'll do our Purple Spotlight on next week's episode. I was hoping to actually get started on the Amari Funk Soloist Hour, so won't be able to release that this week, but hopefully I'll get to record episode 1 of that next week. So again, I'll keep you guys posted, and as always, let's all have love for one another and also keep it purple and on the one.